So we're told at the outset of this movie that it's based on a true story. It's based on the story of the Perron family who in 1971 moved into a house in Rhode Island in America. They moved into this house having no idea what was going on in terms of the previous occupants or the history of the house. They bought it at auction. They subsequently find out that the house is haunted and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. They call in Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are renowned paranormal psychologists, demonologists, whatever you want to call them, to investigate the house. And it turns out that the house is indeed haunted. Now, I will talk about the film in generalities, but there's one thing I really want to bring up at the start of this film. Now, I'm going to show you a picture, okay? It's a picture of a really weird, freaky looking doll, okay? So check this out. Okay, pretty freaky looking, okay? Now, I just want to ask you one question. I'm going to give you two options with this. You see this doll, and this doll is in your house, okay? What do? Do you put it in the boot of your car? Do you drive as far away as you can and like burn it, with like reading from a Bible in Latin or Aramaic or something? Or do you decide to keep it in your house and invite a demon in to possess it? Not much of a kind of a contest there as far as I'm concerned, but at the start of this film, this doll appears. The doll is called Annabelle, it's haunted, and it turns out that the two girls who are living in the apartment have decided to invite the spirit of a dead child into it. So first and foremost, this is really indicative of where we're going with this story. On a base level, I enjoyed The Conjuring. It's a really well made horror movie. It's by James Wan, who did Insidious Parts 1 and 2. He did Saw movie as well, and I think he was lined up for one of the Fast and Furious movies or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that could be completely wrong. Anyway, forget I said that. Anyway, James Wan is the director of the movie, and much has been said in relation to, I suppose, how this has been shot. Now, the movie looks fantastic. It stars Ron Livingston and Lily Taylor as the parents of the family living in the house, and we have Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are played by Patrick Wilson, and the really lovely Vera Farmiga. The story itself takes place over the period of a couple of days as matters escalate in the house and they're brought into the investigation. It turns out that the family is being haunted, and that the demon ghost, or whatever, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but has latched onto the family, and so they have to stay in the house. Now, much has been made, as I said, of a number of cliches which are really evident in this film. Say, for example, at the start of the film, you have, they're moving into the house. The dog, that the people have, the dog won't go into the house. The little girl finds wind chimes and she puts wind chimes up. Okay, first and foremost, these are two things which are like really sort of, if I go into a house and a dog won't go into it, my spidey senses are tingling on this. So the wind chimes thing, you find that there's a boarded up basement, in the underneath the house. Why is it boarded up? We don't know. There's creepy happenings. There's creepy noises. What will we do? We'll light a match and we'll walk downstairs into the dark. There's creepy looking toys. There's a girl here who makes friends with an invisible friend, and I mean, to be honest with you, there's so many things here which if you like horror movies and you see horror movies on a regular basis, you'll have seen these a million times. So I mean, there's a lot of really cliched stuff in this. However, James Wan has a particular style in his direction and his shooting. The movie looks really good, and it's shot in a really good way. Now there are a number of jumps. The scares come quite sort of thick and fast as the movie progresses. Initially they're kind of quiet, but there is a sense of sort of everything is very quiet, everything is quiet, and then there's like a loud sort of a bang which makes you jump, and then everything's quiet and quiet and quiet, and then everything's loud again. So I mean, all in all, it's a well-made film. I really enjoyed it. I have to say maybe I didn't get the full effect of it because I watched it during the middle of the day. So I probably didn't get the full effect of it, but it was a good. There was some good scares in there. Vera Farmiga was very good. I liked Patrick Wilson as well. Ron Livingston is always pretty good as well. I mean, he plays sort of kind of an everyman character no matter where he is. I have a review of the film comedy Drinking Buddies on my Facebook page, which you should check out, and Ron Livingston was in that, and it's the typical kind of character that he plays. The film itself is scary in parts. I jumped once or twice. it is riddled with cliches, but they're filmed in such a way that, like, I think that, you know, James Wan can be forgiven for including them. Initially, it's a bit grating when you see the thing like, you know, the dog won't go into the house and the wind chimes and all that kind of thing. But, you know, as the movie progresses, it ramps up the tension, it ramps up the scares, it looks pretty good. And overall, I would recommend you checking it out. It's just out in DVD and Blu-ray here in Ireland this week. I never caught it when it was in the cinema, which was a shame. But it was overall, it was a great film. Very enjoyable. It's not going to win any particular prizes, but there's a few good scares in there. So if you're looking for a horror film, it's probably one of the better made ones over the last couple of years. Something quite similar was Insidious. I only saw part 1 of that. It's also by James Wan, and that was a pretty good film too. So there's two choices for you if you're looking for a good horror movie. But I would, yeah, in future, like, you know, when people are making these movies, they should stay away from the, you know, the creepy looking dolls and the, you know, just the creepy basements and the cheerleader going into the basement, all that kind of stuff, because it is a little cliche. You know what's going to happen. A lot of the scares can be a bit telegraphed, but good movie. Yeah, check it out.